Hello, it's good to see you. Today we are going to be making homemade copycat Spaghettios. I discovered recently that there are a bunch of recipes online for making your own Spaghettios. Now, if you don't know what Spaghettios are, it is a canned type of pasta. And yes, I already know it's terrible for you. So I'm saving you the trouble of typing that out. If they're terrible for you and they're delicious, or at least they used to be. There are other types of canned pastas that you can get. Like we have the Chef Boyardee here. I don't actually have a can of real Spaghettios, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So you can get these little cans of pasta like the beef ravioli in pasta sauce. Personally, I'm not crazy about these, but every now and then my kids will eat a can of it, just something different. Nobody here really eats a whole lot of stuff like this, but every now and then, and I know I'm this way, I will get a craving for something like this. I'm 51 and I still every now and then will just want something like this. This tries to make you think it's wonderful for you. Look, no artificial flavors, no preservatives, no artificial colors. Oh, and then it just repeats. So it looks like there's a whole bunch of good things, but it's actually just those three repeated over and over again. It's practically a salad. It's so good for you. And look, they show you pictures of fresh tomatoes. So you know it's good. No, it's terrible. I know it's terrible, but it's tasty. Now, I noticed something a few years ago. I bought a couple of cans of Spaghettios. Just because every now and then I don't know, I just have a hankering for some Spaghettios. And I prepared one of the cans of Spaghettios one day, and I noticed it tasted different. Something about it has changed. It definitely didn't taste the way it used to when I was a kid. They probably took out the cyanide or something. But it was definitely different, and I didn't like it. I don't know, it was kind of bland, and it just didn't really have that lovely chemical-laden Spaghettios flavor to it. So, but I'm gonna tell you what, and that's why I don't have any, because I haven't bought brand name Spaghettios in forever. But if you have a Walmart near you, this right here, the Great Value pasta rings and meatballs, and they also have it without the meatballs, but I like the kind with the meatballs. It tastes exactly like the Spaghettios back from like the 80s, when I was a kid. It tastes exactly the same. So whatever horrible ingredient they took out, this still has it. So if you're looking for that genuine, authentic Spaghettios taste, get the Great Value pasta rings. Now, I haven't tried the one without the meatballs, but this one, it tastes exactly the same. And it comes with a pop top, which is nice. Because I remember when I was a kid, they didn't have that pop top. You'd have to get the can opener and go for it. Not that that's a big deal, but this also says it has no artificial flavors or preservatives. But then it has 2 asterisks at the end of that. So I'm thinking it's probably some horrible fine print back here somewhere. We're not going to read any of the ingredients, or we're not going to worry about that. So what we're making, basically, according to the recipe that I have, is supposed to be a version of this right here. So you have your little rings of pasta, and you have your tomato sauce, and your little meatballs. Now, I'm not going to be making it with meatballs because I don't know how to replicate these meatballs. There is one spaghetti sauce that I think Ragu makes, but I haven't been able to find it in like 6 months. They make a spaghetti sauce that has little meatballs in it, and those meatballs taste just like the ones that they had in Spaghettios with meatballs, but I can't find it anymore. It's a really nice little tasty spaghetti sauce, but I haven't been able to find any, unfortunately. So basically, just to give you a visual, this is what we are attempting to create, is a homemade version of Spaghettios without meatballs. You could add meatballs if you wanted to. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. So again, I found several recipes online for homemade Spaghettios, and they all looked really interesting. I wanted to go with one, though, that had the simplest ingredients and was the easiest to make. They all looked really easy, though. So what I try to do is I like to prepare foods and show you how to do it, something anybody could make. So if you've never cooked anything before, I try to give you recipes that would be easy to start with. Because I know a lot of people, growing up never learned how to cook anything. I didn't. I had to kind of learn on my own, and it can be really intimidating. But if you have some fun little recipes that are easy, I think it can kind of help you get into it a little bit more, and you can try other recipes later. So I went with this one from lordbyronskitchen.com, and I'll put the email, I'll put the website in the description and the link, the pinned comment, so you can find this recipe. But if you just Google, homemade Spaghettios, you can find other recipes if you don't want to try this one for some reason. This one's very easy though. It says that the prep time is only 5 minutes and the cook time is only 10 minutes. So it's a combination of only 15 minutes. And I'm assuming it's probably healthier than this. I'm just curious to see if it tastes like this. I'm very curious to see that. So we have very simple ingredients. The only thing that I had to find elsewhere was the pasta. I got this pasta on Amazon. Now you may be able to find it in a store near you. I was not able to find any. I've never seen any of this kind of pasta anywhere nearby. But it's so I got this on Amazon. I think it was about $6. If you buy it in bulk, it's probably cheaper. But it's La Molisana. I'm probably saying that wrong. Anelli Siciliani number 60A bronze dye pasta. Now this was made in Italy. And I bought this one because it was the smallest package they had on Amazon. So I didn't want a whole bunch of this stuff. I wanted enough to try in this recipe. So I think this was about $6. And the recipe will take pretty much this whole bag, which I'm really wondering how that's going to work. But you see, we only have the one size in here. If you look at Spaghettios, maybe this one's not like that. The rings are different sizes. And actually, I think these knockoff ones don't have the same pasta rings that the actual Spaghettios have. I'm thinking there were 3 sizes of the little rings, like small, medium, large. I'm thinking. But it looks like this one here from Great Value may only have 1 or 2, maybe just one size ring. It really doesn't matter. I mean, if I'm just now noticing it, it must not be that big of a deal. But I remember there was always something kind of satisfying about the Spaghettios. Like you'd see them in your bowl, and when you had 3 of them just all nested together, like they were just all kind of, there was just something so nice about that. Kind of like my mixing bowls. We're not going to be needing my mixing bowls in this video. We really need to get back to making stuff where I need my mixing bowls. Well, Christmas is coming up, so I'm sure I will make something where I have to mix stuff. But I always have to show you my mixing bowls. Look at this. See, it's kind of like Spaghettios, the way they all just kind of nest together like that. I got these at an antique store, but they're definitely not antiques. You can still buy these online. In fact, if you go to Amazon, they have these in different color schemes. I just really love this one here. And you have the 4 bowls that fit together so nicely. And they're from Zak Designs, Z-A-K exclamation point. And I love them, and we use them a lot in our cooking videos, but this recipe is so easy. You don't even need to worry about really mixing anything. So what do we need for this recipe? So simple. This is so simple. Again, the only ingredient that I had to get elsewhere was the O-shaped pasta, but really you don't have to use O-shaped pasta. You could probably do with elbow macaroni, or really any pasta would work. I don't see why it wouldn't, but I wanted to go with the O-shaped pasta since that's what the recipe calls for. So it is cute. Look at it. Isn't it cute? You could use, you know what? You could use that alphabet pasta, and that you can find at pretty much any grocery store. That would work. I didn't think about that. You could go with that, or elbow macaroni, or whatever. The little bow tie pasta would be nice. The little radiators, the whatever, radiatory or whatever. Love those. Anything would work. So you need that. You also need 16 ounces of tomato sauce. But what I noticed was I didn't see a 16-ounce can of tomato sauce. They were all 15 ounces. So I hope that's okay. I'm missing an ounce of tomato sauce here. I hope that won't throw it off too much. But I grabbed a can of Great Value tomato sauce. And it's just, I know some people prefer brand name for stuff like this. Personally, I can't really tell the difference. So I just get store brand. You're also going to need 4 tablespoons of tomato paste. Now do keep in mind, and this is something that a lot of people don't remember or they don't know, tomato sauce and tomato paste are 2 different things. So you cannot, if it calls for tomato paste, typically you're going to find them in these little cans like this. They're going to be about this size. This is 6 ounces of Great Value tomato paste. It's going to be more concentrated. This is going to be more watery. So it's 2 different consistencies. It's 2 different things. So you can't just swap them, 1 to 1. You're also going to need a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. Now that is not garlic salt. This is garlic powder. So there's no salt in here. It's just basically dried powdered garlic. And if you've never cooked before and you need stuff like this and you're just trying it, it's good to remember that you can go to pretty much any store that sells groceries, a supermarket, Walmart, wherever, and you can usually find store brands of basic ingredients like this. Like I have a bunch of it. I have thyme, well, these came from Aldi. You can get Aldi stuff. And these like this, the Great Value ones like this, are about $1. It's only $1. I think it was 98 cents for this garlic powder right here. And you can get a lot of uses out of that, because for this one we only need 1/4 teaspoon. That's a tiny bit. And we need 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. So I got this at Aldi, and I don't remember how much it was. It wasn't much, but it's Stone Mill, which is an Aldi brand. And when you go to the baking aisle, it can be kind of intimidating if you've never looked at the spices and stuff, all the different things like this. And, some of it is really expensive. And, of course, you can buy the expensive stuff if you want to. Typically, I don't. I just go for this because I don't know. Because I know for me, I'm not going to use all this before it runs out of time. There are expiration dates on the bottom. I would just pay $1 for this, but you can get the more expensive stuff, and some of it is quite expensive for, a similar product from a brand name. It might be organic and come in a nice little glass bottle, and it was hand picked by, virgin woodland nymphs or something like that. It's sprinkled with stardust and blessed by the Lord, and it's $50 or whatever. You can buy that stuff. I'm not knocking any of it. I'm just saying, if you're just starting out, you do not have to spend a bunch of money on this stuff if you don't want to. Don't feel like you have to. I wouldn't judge you for it because I buy this stuff too. You also need 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and again, that is different from onion salt. So this has no salt in it. It is just the onion powder. And I had a little trouble finding this. I had to go to several stores before I found onion powder. I went to 3 Walmarts, and I went to a Food Line, the grocery store. Nobody had onion powder, not even the fancy versions. I don't know if there's just a shortage of it or something. But finally, I was able to find some onion powder at Aldi. I think that was about $2 for that onion powder. So you need onion powder. You need 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme. And I picked up this, ground thyme. I mean, you can get some dried thyme leaves and, scrunch them up. I just bought some ground thyme. 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 Yeah. Thyme. This right here. Get some of that. You need 1/2 teaspoon of salt, plus salt for the pasta water. You're also supposed to put some in the water for boiling your pasta. You need a tablespoon of honey, and it doesn't specify any certain type of honey. And I didn't have any because we don't really eat honey here, but I picked up this because honestly it was the cheapest. This was like $3 or $4. It is great value honey. Remember the little bear? You can still get these little honey bears. He looks really, really like he's dying inside, but he's trying to put on a brave face. He's just over it at this point. He's tired of being full of honey. This is U.S. grade A, product of Argentina, Canada, and United States. 100% honey. It's just plain old honey. And I discovered there are a bunch of different types of honey you can get. Oh my word, there's raw honey, organic honey, clover honey, local honey. I just got the bear. I just bought the bear. I don't know. So I got that. So we only need 1 tablespoon of honey. We need 6 tablespoons of milk. And it doesn't say what kind of milk. I guess just whatever milk you have. 2 tablespoons of salted butter. Now, I don't ever buy salted butter. I have from Countryside Creamery sweet cream unsalted butter. But you can go online and find out how much salt you're going to need to make up for the fact that it's not salted. I did the math on it. I'm going to need like 3 grains of salt because I only need 2 tablespoons of salted butter. So that's not going to be a lot of salt in there, but I will add in the required amount of salt. You can also add in a cup of shredded cheddar cheese, but that is optional. I think I might add that, but you don't have to. It's optional. This recipe looks so easy. I think this is probably going to be one of the easiest ones we've ever done, and I'm really curious to see how it turns out. So we're going to get started, and I'm going to show you how to make homemade Spaghettios. I don't think I have ever had this many little bowls and little containers. I have more. This is some of them. Now, of course, if you make this at home, you're not going to have to measure everything out. But I've measured out my stuff here. And to get things out of the little bowls, I find that one of these cute little spatulas is very handy. You can get these at any Dollar Tree or, Walmart or wherever. Little mini spatulas, and they're silicone coated. And they're really great. Like if you have to get in here and get out all the goodness to get it in your pan. It's really great for that. Because like for the tomato paste, I want to make sure I get all of it out into the pan, and some of it's not just going to pour out. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting our pasta into our water. I'm going to get the water boiling, and then we're going to add our pasta. This is going to be salted water. They were kind enough to include a little sticker here, so you can open this up and then roll it down and seal it back with a little sticker. I just thought that was cute. That was so considerate. These little rings are so cute. Look at them. They're just adorable. Okay, we are going to add most of this to the bag. I'm going to leave a little bit out because it's a little bit more than we need, but not a lot more, just a little bit. I'm going to turn the heat down. Stir. Now this little thing is great. It's called a spoonchilla. It's like a spoon and a spatula together, a spoonchilla. And I buy these at Aldi whenever they have them. They're from Crofton. And I love them because they work as a spoon and a spatula. It's like the spork, but no one hates it. Stir that. I'm just gonna get that, make sure it's not sticking to the bottom or anything. I didn't add any oil or anything to the water, just a little bit of salt. So now, while that does its thing there, we're going to start adding stuff to our saucepan. So while that cooks, yeah, we're going to add all the other ingredients except for the shredded cheese to a saucepan. We're going to put it on medium heat. There. And I want to make sure I have everything. So we start with the tomato sauce. Like that. And you want to remember while you're doing this that you still need to stir your pasta occasionally. You want to make sure it doesn't stick to itself or anything. And cook it according to the instructions on the container, however it tells you to make it. The recipe just says to cook it according to the package instructions for the pasta. Look at those little rings, they're so cute. Okay, I've enjoyed this recipe so far just because I get to use the little ring pasta. And then we want to add in our tomato paste. We have our little spatula for that. And I'm just going to keep using the same spatula for everything. I've already got like 47 little bowls to wash. Then we need a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. Got that here. Get that. 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. 1/4 teaspoon of our dried thyme. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Oops. 1 tablespoon of honey. It's kind of hard to get out. I put in a little extra because I knew that I was not going to be able to get it all out. Some of it was going to stick to the bowl. There's our honey. 6 tablespoons of milk. This is just 2% because that's what I had. Our 2 tablespoons of salted butter. Don't flop it in there like that. I added a little bit of salt to that. Okay, so that is everything. Let's stir that a little bit more. Okay, so that is everything. And now we are going to whisk our ingredients together in a saucepan on medium heat. Stir that a little bit. And yeah, there are other recipes for homemade Spaghettios online if you want to try a different one. I think this was the only one that called for honey. I don't think any of the others said you had to use honey. I just thought that was kind of interesting. You want to whisk all of these ingredients together until the butter is melted, and then you're going to just let it simmer. I still have the butter right there. It's not, you can see it, it's not melted yet. The pasta's coming along nicely. Oh, it's getting a little bit bigger. It's fluffing up a little bit. That seems like a lot of pasta to me for this amount of sauce. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like I used the amount they said to use it. I just feel like that's a lot of pasta for this. I could be wrong, but it just seems like we're not going to have enough sauce for the amount of pasta that we have. Okay, the butter has now melted. And it says you want to reach the point that the butter has melted and the sauce is simmering. And it's definitely not doing that. So we'll give it some time. T-I-M-E. We already did the T-H-Y-M-E. I feel like I need to just keep moving it. Look at our pasta. Now, some of these recipes for the homemade Spaghettios said that you want to cook the pasta al dente, but this one said to cook it according to package instructions, not al dente. So I'm just going to cook it until it's, oh, it's getting mad. Look at it. I'm going to cook it until it's done. All right. It smells good, I'll say that. It does smell nice. It doesn't smell like Spaghettios to me, but it smells good. I just don't feel like it's enough. I mean, it's kind of spread out in the saucepan, but still. Once it starts simmering, if you want to add the cheese, it says to do so now. I do have some cheese. I realize I do want to add cheese, but I don't have a block of cheese right now. And I'm going to add pre-shredded cheese, and I do realize that it does not do as well. But I have it. This is some that was already shredded. It's better if you shred it yourself because the pre-shredded cheese has this stuff on it that keeps it from melting properly. We're going for it. It says that you want to fold it in with a spatula. I'm just going for it. Because as I recall, I decided to add in the cheese because it seemed to remember that the Spaghettios without the meatballs, the sauce tasted a little different. It did kind of have a cheesy taste to it, in my opinion. So I decided to try a little bit of cheese in here. Now it does say that we're going to be draining this, and we're going to drain it well. You want to make sure to get as much of the water out of it and off of it as you can. You don't have to rinse the pasta. What we're going to do is I'm going to drain that, and then we're going to transfer our drained pasta directly into our sauce right here. So I'm going to go drain the pasta, and I'll bring it right back, and we will add it in. I have now drained the pasta thoroughly and just put it back in this bowl. So now what we have to do is add it to our saucepan and make sure that we thoroughly cover the pasta with the sauce. This pasta is so fun. I love it. It took a little longer to cook than I thought it would. I actually thought it was done a little bit ago, but it really wasn't. I had to let it cook a little more. So now we're just I'm going to use my little spatula and just stir the sauce and kind of just incorporate the pasta. Well, maybe it is, maybe this amount of pasta is good, or this amount of the sauce to pasta ratio is okay. I have to tell you, I took a little taste of this sauce. That is really good sauce. It's so simple. It's really tasty. It is so good. I like it better than Spaghettios. All right. And I did add the cheese, the optional cheese to it, and it's really, really tasty. So we have now incorporated all of the pasta and the sauce, and I think that's a pretty decent amount of sauce and pasta. You can talk about the sound now in the comments. You feel really witty while you do it because no one else will notice. Just you. I'm just going to stir that a little bit. Now, I got a little something on there. It's funny. This recipe actually tells you to turn off the heat. Make sure you turn off the heat. So all you do now is enjoy. It's ready to eat. That's the last step. Look at that. Oh my gosh. It really does look just like Spaghettios. Look at that. It's heavy. So now we are ready to try our homemade copycat Spaghettios. Okay, we are ready to try our copycat Spaghettios. I'm excited. So I got some here, and I think it's a pretty decent amount of sauce. I was afraid there wasn't going to be enough. It just looked like there was a lot of pasta and it was going to be too much for the sauce, but I think it looks like Spaghettios. It does actually kind of smell like Spaghettios too. It kind of tastes like Spaghettios. The only difference is the pasta. If you ever notice, the pasta in the Spaghettios is kind of mushy. I guess because when you do canned pasta, I guess, you know, you have your limits as to what you can do, really, but this is, I think I like this better. I think I like this better than the regular Spaghettios. That sauce is really good. And it was so simple. I like the cheese in it. I really do. I was afraid with it being that pre-shredded cheese, it might be kind of weird. It's really not. I think it is perfect. I think that cup of cheese in here makes it's a nice addition to it. You can kind of taste it. There's a little bit of cheesiness to it. I think it's fantastic. This is really good. But again, you don't have to use the little round pasta if you don't want to. I mean, you could do any kind of, you could really do any pasta with this. That's so good. It was super quick, super simple, and very simple ingredients. It doesn't have anything crazy in it. And again, you could substitute any kind of pasta for this that you want to. I think it'd be totally fine. So yeah, we've made our own little version of Spaghettios minus the meatballs. I had to figure out how to make those meatballs. But you remember, the meatballs had that very specific taste. It wasn't just any old meatball. It had a very specific taste. Like I can taste, like in my mind, I know exactly what it tastes like without tasting it. I don't know how you make those meatballs. That I don't know. But we got a great big old pan here of this. Wow. Yeah, my older son is eager to try it because he said it sounds really good, and he's already told me it smells really good because he's upstairs and he said, I smell that. It smells really good. It's fantastic. I really like it. I highly recommend that you try making this. So again, that was homemade copycat Spaghettios from Lord Byron's Kitchen, and I will put a link to that website in the pinned comment and the description if you're interested in trying it. It's just a nice thing if you like Spaghettios, but maybe you're getting older like me and you think about the fact that, you know, eating this kind of stuff on a regular basis is probably not super good for you. If you want to find a healthier alternative but it kind of tastes the same, there are multiple recipes out there to make this kind of stuff with better ingredients that you can try, and I encourage you to do it. thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed getting to see my homemade copycat Spaghettios come into being from this recipe. And they're really great. I love these, and I bet they will do great. Like, you know, put them in the refrigerator because we'll have a lot left over. I mean, there's a lot here. I was just looking at this, like, that's a lot. We will definitely have leftovers. They'll probably reheat really well. I imagine they would. So yeah, it definitely won't go to waste. We will enjoy these very much. And thank you so much for being here. I really hope you have a great day. And if you've never cooked before, you've never tried to make anything, I really hope you will give it a try. Have a great day. I'll see you again soon.